The shocking truth about a haunted mansion. 3 a.m. encounter with a wealthy stranger. They say the old Whitmore mansion is home to secrets that chill the bones of even the bravest souls. It stands on the outskirts of town, draped in shadows and rambling vines, with windows like eerie eyes that seem to follow your every move. Legend has it that at exactly 3 a.m., the ghostly figure of a wealthy stranger roams its haunted halls, searching for something lost long ago. How does a mansion become a cage of whispers, you ask? Step into this chilling world where the air thickens with mystery and nostalgia lurks around every corner. Buckle up. As Nathan approached the mansion, the moon hung low like a watchful guardian, casting ghostly beams on the peeling paint and crumbling bricks. Every creak underfoot sent shivers racing down his spine, wrapping around him like icy fingers. There were stories, oh the wild stories, of inexplicable laughter echoing through the desolate halls and shadows dancing without light. His heart pounded loudly enough to drown out the distant rustle of leaves, which felt like hushed conversations warning him to turn back. Did he dare go further? His curiosity wrapped tighter around him than fear ever could. Stepping inside, Nathan felt the temperature drop, snapping him into a cold reality. The air felt thick, oppressive, and every breath felt like a struggle. It almost vibrated with energy, as if the walls themselves recalled infinite tales. A distant sound, soft, melodic, drifted through the corridors. Was someone playing a tune? Or was it merely the wind teasing an old memory? The flickering light bulb overhead threw strange shadows, wrapping him in darkness, one that felt alive and hungry. Could it be that the stories were more than mere tales spun to scare? Suddenly, a figure appeared in the corner of his eye. A silhouette tall, commanding, dressed in a suit from a different era. Nathan's breath caught in his throat, terror racing through his veins. The man didn't move, only watched, eyes glinting like two obsidian stones. What did he want? The room had an electrifying charge, making the hairs on Nathan's arms stand at attention. Was he trapped in this nightmarish spectacle? Or was it the mansion that wanted to reveal its secrets? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. And just like that, the figure vanished. Like smoke blown away by a sudden wind. Nathan stood frozen, his pulse pounding in his ears. Had he seen what he thought he saw? Suddenly, the mansion groaned, a deep sigh that felt mournful. A chill climbed his spine. The room felt alive, aware of him. Whatever was happening here, wasn't he finished yet? With a rush of determination, he followed the strange sound that now felt like a beacon, pulling him deeper into the night. What else would he discover, buried within the shadows of the Whitmore mansion? Nathan crept forward, driven by an urgent pull. The air crackled with tension. Something profound lingered just beyond his reach. Each step activated a chorus of sounds. The faint rustling of fabric, the whisper of air through the cracked windows, and somewhere, the echoing notes of a long-lost melody. It rustled like pages turning in a forgotten story. Beckoning him closer, he turned the corridor, his heart drumming in tandem with the distant music. Did it belong to the ghost? Was he the audience to the spectral tune? The notes lured him deeper into the mansion, wrapping him in a shroud of enchantment and fear. The walls seemed to lean in, listening to his every breath. With every step, the feeling of being unwelcome grew sharper, lancing through him like an icy blade up ahead. A flickering light caught his eye. He moved cautiously, his feet whispering against the old wooden floor, which groaned under his weight. As he approached, he could see a doorway, slightly ajar. The music grew louder, echoing off the walls, drawing him into a room shrouded in mystery. He swung the door open. The light inside emanated from an ornate chandelier, its crystals twinkling like trapped stars. In the center of the room stood a grand piano, dust covering its surface like winter's frost, but its keys gleamed as if polished just moments before. Nathan's breath quickened as he realized the melody was coming from this very instrument. He stepped inside, mesmerized. Was the wealthy stranger still here? His heart raced. A flicker of movement caught his eye again at the piano. But it was no longer just a shadow. It was a figure poised over the keys, fingers dancing over the ivory. Nathan held his breath, caught between fear and fascination. "Who are you?" he called, his voice more fragile than he intended. The figure paused, hands lingering above the keys. Slowly it turned. The face hidden in shadows was pale, ethereal, yet impossibly striking. A familiar look on the man's opulent features sent a shiver down Nathan's spine. Recognition hitting him like a wave. "Why have you come?" The voice flowed like silk, smooth yet edged with sorrow. The wealth of ages echoed in that tone. I felt drawn here," Nathan stammered, heart racing, wondering if he'd stepped into an alternate reality. "I wanted to know the truth." The figure tilted its head, a faint smile ghosting across its lips. "The truth wears many masks. And yet you are here for answers. Is it worth the price?" With a heavy silence enveloping them, Nathan's mind raced. He considered the warning echoing in his mind. What was the price? Had he unwittingly stepped into a bargain he didn't understand? A sudden chill swept through the room, and the candles flickered ominously. The shadows stretched, elongating as if yearning to escape. "I can help you," the figure continued, voice layered with urgency. But with every answer, something has to be given. Nathan felt a knot tighten around him. What was he willing to sacrifice for understanding? The thrill of adventure clashed with the reality of what lay ahead. Before he could respond, the music began again, stronger now, a haunting symphony that wrapped him in a cozy embrace, yet it was laced with fear, hinting at what was to come. With a glance toward the swirling darkness beyond the door, Nathan's mind raced as he weighed his options. What awaited him on the other side? Would he uncover the mansion's long-buried truths, or would he plunge into a nightmare from which he couldn't escape? The answer flashed before him as the room shook with a low rumble. The walls vibrated with an urgency that felt like a warning. And then, a glass shard shattered against the floor, and the chilling laughter of the stranger began to fill the air. What were the secrets hiding behind the closed doors of the Whitmore mansion? Nathan's heart began to race as the laughter rolled through the room like an echo in a canyon, deep and unnatural. It transformed the once inviting melody into something sinister, wrapping around him like a cold fog. He recoiled instinctively, eyes darting between the man at the piano and the darkened corners of the room, where shadows seemed to writhe with intent. "Why do you laugh?" Nathan's voice trembled. "What are you?" But the figure's demeanor shifted. The tantalizing facade of charm faded, replaced by something more jagged and foreboding. "You seek the truth, and truths can be delightful or dreadful," he said, his voice now dripping with insincere honey. "You're in my world now, and everything comes at a cost, especially curiosity." The chandelier above them swayed ominously, the light casting frantic patterns across the walls. A sudden, overwhelming dread gripped Nathan as he realized he was no longer just an observer. He was part of a confrontation he never intended to have. "What kind of cost?" he managed to ask, forcing the words past the tightness in his throat. The man smiled, but it was no solace. "Let us just say it's the kind of exchange that leaves its mark. Choose wisely, Nathan. Understand what you're willing to lose." Before Nathan could contemplate the weight of those words, the music shifted again, growing more chaotic. The notes danced wildly, like ghosts caught in a storm, as the darkness thickened around him. He could feel the room breathing, almost waking up, talons raking across the floorboards. "Stop!" Nathan shouted, his voice steadier now. "I want to be a pawn in your game." A flicker of disappointment crossed the stranger's face, but it turned to amusement almost instantly. Defiance. "Such a vigorous dance your soul performs. How predictable." A glimmer of something darker passed through his eyes. "But know this. The truth doesn't like to be ignored." Nathan stiffened as the temperature in the room plummeted. Ice coated the air, wrapping around him like a vice. The ghostly figure leaning over the piano grew misty, fading in and out of existence like an illusion. A familiar melody, laced with sorrow and longing, surged forth from the keys once more. It felt like a funeral dirge, wrapping Nathan in a cocoon of despair. Then abruptly the music stopped. An unbearable silence filled the space, heavy and thick. With an intentional slowness, the figure straightened, the darkness around him swirling softly. You don't belong here, Nathan. But yet you linger. Perhaps fate has brought you. Or maybe it is merely curiosity driving you deeper into my realm. Fate or curiosity, it doesn't matter, Nathan replied, heightening his resolution, yearning for a truth he couldn't yet place. I want to know what this place is hiding. As if answering his challenge, the air shifted again. The walls of the mansion groaned, and a sudden tremor ran through the wooden floor, a pulse of life beneath his feet. A shadow darted past him, making him jerk back. What was that? His pulse raced, every instinct screaming for him to run. Your journey has only just begun, the figure intoned, his voice now a haunting echo that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. We will see what darkness you are willing to unveil. But be warned, Nathan. Something will be taken. Will you go into the shadows willingly? And then, without warning, the piano erupted in a cacophony of sound, the windows rattling as a tumultuous wind whipped through the room. Everything around him seemed to shift like quicksand, the walls warping as he stood at the precipice of a choice. Suddenly, a door appeared at the far end of the room, its outline shimmering like a mirage. But where would it lead? What awaited him on the other side? As the laughter grew louder, Nathan hesitated, caught between the allure of the truth and the terror of the unknown. In that pivotal moment he felt it, a pulse of energy vibrating through the mansion. It beckoned him forward. What lay beyond that door? Would it be a revelation or a surrender to darkness? Nathan's breath hitched as he took a tentative step toward the door. A swirling mist danced at the edges, wrapping around his ankles and pulling him closer. Every fiber of his being screamed to turn back, but curiosity clawed at him like a crazed animal. Choosing to move forward, he gripped the doorknob. It felt icy cold under his fingers, an electric jolt coursing through him as he twisted it. With a deep breath and a prayer he didn't believe, he pushed the door open. The moment he crossed the threshold, a rush of air hit him like a slap. He stumbled into a room bathed in eerie twilight. The space was filled with churning shadows, swirling like a storm contained within four walls. Tall, ancient shelves loomed ahead, overcrowded with dusty tomes and ominous trinkets. A grotesque mirror hung crookedly on one wall, its surface rippling as though something lurked just beneath. Welcome to my sanctum, a voice crooned, deeper and more resonant than before. The ghostly figure followed him in, the air thick with a palpable tension. Here truth and illusion entwine as lovers do. What do you want from me? Nathan felt small, adrift in this chaotic realm. The figure stepped closer, the space around him warping with every movement. Wisdom requires a sacrifice, Nathan. You can uncover the secrets that lie hidden here, or remain blissfully unaware. His grin was sharp, predatory. What will it be? The truth or ignorance? His mind raced. Why can't I have both? Nathan shot back, frustration igniting his voice. With a flourish, the figure gestured to the mirror. That, my friend, can show you what you seek, but at what price? Instinctively, Nathan recoiled, glancing back at the door. He was trapped, the way out fading into the darkness behind him. As he looked into the mirror, it shifted, the surface morphing like a pool disrupted by a stone. Images flashed across it, familiar faces, haunting expressions, moments frozen in time. Nathan found himself entranced. Yet a chill crept down his spine as he began to piece it all together. Each face held a story, but some were marked with pain, regret, and a darkness he could only begin to comprehend. Who are they? He whispered, dread coiling in his stomach. Why do they look like your past is woven into the fabric of my domain? The figure interrupted, the mirth fading from his voice. Every choice ripples through time. Could it be, Nathan, that you've already paid the price? Sweat beaded on Nathan's forehead, the realization crashing over him like a tidal wave. Faces of loved ones, lost friends, people he thought he had left behind. It felt wrong, but they were undeniably drawn to this place. You take from others, in return for the truths you seek, Nathan breathed in horror. What have I done? The figure leaned closer, his breath sending chills through Nathan. It's not just about what you've done. It's what you will do next. Will you dare to dig deeper? Will you risk more lives for your insatiable thirst for truth? The air crackled as Nathan's heart pounded desperately. The stakes had shifted. This was no longer just about him. He hadn't realized that stepping through the door meant inviting darkness not just into his life, but into others' lives as well. With a decision pressing down on him like a weight he couldn't bear, Nathan stared into the mirror again. The reflection stirred, blinked back at him, pleading. What lay beyond that shimmer? Another revelation? Or the beginning of a deeper nightmare? And in that moment of silence, as whispers of despair echoed, Nathan had to choose. Would he plunge into the hellish unknown for answers that may cost his soul? The very foundations of his world teetered as he stood at the precipice of revelation. What shadows awaited him beyond their haunting plea? Nathan's heart thundered in his chest, caught in a vice of dread and fascination. Everything became eerily quiet, the moment suspended in time as he locked gazes with the faces in the mirror. They swirled and shifted, a macabre dance of lost souls tethered to him by choices he'd never realized he'd made. Make your choice, Nathan. The figure's voice boomed, reverberating off the walls, casting an even darker shadow on Nathan's escalating fear. Truth is a powerful weapon, but wielding it can destroy you and those you care about. He blinked, backpedaling away from the mirror's surface. Images of his mother, a childhood friend, even a neighbor who used to smile and wave all flashed before his eyes with a clarity that was hauntingly overwhelming. The deep sense of dread curled in his gut, gripping him like a vice. How could he explain what was happening here? What would he even say? Stop it! Nathan shouted, every ounce of frustration and fear surging into his voice. I want no part in this. Ah, but you've already invited it in. The figure tilted his head. An unsettling smile twisted across his lips. The truth beckons to you like a moth to a flame. You can't just walk away now. He turned to flee, needing nothing more than to escape the suffocating atmosphere. But the door he'd entered through had vanished, leaving behind walls that seemed to close in like a noose. Panic surged within him, iron claws gripping his throat. How do I get out? You can't escape what you are. The figure advanced, shadows trailing behind him like a dark cloud. You dive into this abyss, Nathan. Willingly, and only then will you comprehend the price of your choices. Nathan's pulse raced as despair knotted his insides. What kind of madness was this? He could feel the weight of lives resting on his shoulders, forcing him to confront the crumbling facade of his past. Regret seeped into his veins like poison. The faces, they were not merely memories, they were tethered choices. Lives he had destroyed, or perhaps lives he had never truly lived. What do you mean? He gasped, swallowed by the flood of emotions crashing over him. What do you know about me? The figure only laughed, the sound echoing like shards of glass. I know everything, Nathan. The decisions you've made to satisfy your cravings, the paths you've taken, the neglect of those who depended on you. Shut up. Nathan roared, filled with shame and rage. Fragments of his life came rushing back to him, gestures of kindness, moments of selfishness, and the prices he had never contemplated. Suddenly, the mirror began to pulse with light. Images flickered faster, revealing not just his truth but a chilling future. An endless loop of despair showed how his decisions could twist into horror, striking down those he cared about most. Shadows loomed longer, pulling at him, and the room quaked as if in response to his inner turmoil. In a flash he understood. The mirror didn't just reveal the past. It showed consequences yet to come, a warning. Those pleading faces weren't just echoes. They were warnings, ghosts of what might happen if he continued on his current path. Choose wisely now, the figure commanded, his eyes narrowing. Before the darkness claims you, and those you love forever. A shiver raced down Nathan's spine. Could he bear the weight of the truth laid before him? The choice felt impossible, a labyrinth with no clear exit. But then something ignited in Nathan, a spark of defiance. If he could break this chain of despair, perhaps he could rewrite his fate, or would he plunge headlong into the madness that surrounded him? With a surge of determination, he stepped closer to the mirror's shimmering edge, heart hammering, ready to confront whatever awaited him. The air crackled with tension as he whispered, "Show me the truth." But before he could brace himself, the mirror shattered into pieces, shards flying like stars into the void, revealing an oppressive darkness that loomed beyond. What now? Nathan felt the ground shift beneath his feet, swirling into chaos. An abyss opened wide, and he realized he was spiraling into something far worse than he ever imagined. What lay waiting on the other side? Would truth be his salvation or his doom? Nathan plunged into the dark void, his scream swallowed by the silence that engulfed him. It felt like falling through an endless tunnel, his heart racing, each second stretching into infinity. The crushing darkness pressed against him from all sides, disorienting and suffocating. Then, as suddenly as it began, the descent halted. Nathan landed flat on his back, gasping for air. He blinked, trying to adjust to the dim light illuminating the room. It was a small, unfamiliar space, walls lined with dusty bookshelves that sagged under the weight of forgotten words. The smell of mildew filled his nostrils, mingling with something else, something metallic that he rolled onto his side, eyes darting around in panic. His palms were slick with sweat, heart pounding in his chest like a war drum. This wasn't just any place. It felt wrong, steeped in an uneasy silence that hinted at unsettling secrets. A chill skated up his spine. Had he really escaped the mirror, or had he simply moved to another realm of torment? Nathan pushed himself up and stumbled toward the nearest bookshelf. As he reached for a book, a loud creak startled him. He turned sharply. From the shadows emerged a figure cloaked in darkness. A silhouette that oozed a presence unlike anything Nathan had faced. A shadowy exterior, but the unmistakable glimmer of a watch chain dangled from its waist, catching the faintest light. "Welcome, Nathan." The voice was deep, almost soothing, but it held an unsettling edge. "You've come to the heart of your fears, where the truth lies unmasked." "Who are you?" Nathan demanded, his voice shaky yet defiant. "What is this place?" With a slow movement, the figure stepped into the light, revealing a tall man dressed in old-fashioned formal attire. His face was striking, with sharp features that had seen their fair share of anguish. There was a familiarity in those piercing eyes. Yet Nathan couldn't quite place it. "I'm a collector of truths, you might say," the stranger replied, a sardonic smile twisting his lips. "In this gallery, your soul and the choices you've made hang in the balance. Each book contains the history of a decision, a moment that changed everything." "What do you mean?" Nathan's pulse quickened. "Why are you showing me this?" The stranger gestured dramatically to the nearest book. Its cover worn but ornate. "This one, for example, holds a significant moment from your past. A fateful night that could have gone in countless directions. But you chose self-interest over compassion, as you have done so many times before." Nathan took a step back, fear gripping him. "I don't want to look." "Ah, but you must. You cannot escape this," the figure intoned, voice heavy with authority. "Turning away from these truths only chains you further." Before Nathan could respond, the book fell open with a thunderous bang. The air swirled, and he felt himself being pulled into its pages. The haunting words spiraling around him like a vortex, he found himself transported to a cold, rainy night from his past. He stood outside his childhood home, the memory flooding back with vivid clarity. There was his mother, muted cries of worry as she searched for him, sensing he was lost. And there, silhouetted against the flickering streetlights, was Nathan, dismissing her fears all for a night of reckless choices with friends. "Do you see?" The man's voice echoed through the mist. "You cast aside love for fleeting friendships. Each decision fractures the ties that bind you to others." Nathan's heart wrenched painfully within him. The guilt rolled over him, a tidal wave of regret. He wanted to fight back against the truth, to deny the shame creeping in. But the memories kept coming, each one a dagger. "No, I can't bear this," he cried out, the darkness swallowing him again as he returned to the dimly lit room. The stranger stood unmoved, eyes locked onto Nathan's despair. "It's time to make a choice, Nathan. Will you learn from this pain? Or will you let it consume you? Here lies your future, teetering on the edge." As Nathan's breath came raggedly, he felt the weight of countless eyes upon him, the echoes of ghosts urging him forward. What was left to say? What would he choose? The figure leaned closer, voice low and insistent. "The mirror shattered, yes. But the shards remain. What will you gather from the wreckage?" The question hung in the air, an unbearable weight pressing down on Nathan. And just like that, he felt the ground lurch again, shifting beneath him. Darkness loomed once more, every heartbeat a countdown to an uncertain fate. What awaited him in the depths of this labyrinth? Would he seize the opportunity to embrace the truth? Or would he let the shadows claim him for good? Nathan gasped as the ground gave way, plunging him into an unsettling void. Instantly, colors and shapes swirled around him, a chaotic blend that sent his mind spiraling. Faint voices whispered, echoing memories, fragments of laughter, shouts of anger, and cries for help. He clenched his eyes shut, fighting against the overwhelming tide of sensations. Then, with a jarring thud, he landed once more. But this time he wasn't in that eerie chamber anymore. He was in an expansive, dimly lit hallway lined with ornate mirrors. Each mirror shimmered, distorting his reflection into what looked like grotesque parodies, twisting his features into haunting images of regret and sorrow. He felt a cold sweat prickle at the back of his neck. "Step closer, Nathan." The stranger's voice drifted through the air, smooth yet laced with authority. "The mirrors reflect not just your face, but the truth gnawing at your soul." Panic surged in him. I want tea." He stumbled backward, his breath coming fast. But the pull of the mirrors was too strong. Their glimmers magnetic, as if they were alive, begging him to look. "Fear not what you see," the figure urged, emerging from the shadows, still clad in that old-fashioned attire. "Each reflection holds a lesson, a chance to confront what you have avoided for too long." With trembling hands, Nathan pointed to one of the mirrors, its surface rippling as if it were water. There, he saw himself at a family gathering, surrounded by laughter. But beneath the joy lingered shadows. He knew that feeling well, the way he'd always felt, a step removed, his mind too preoccupied with the next party, the next distraction. The reflection morphed, shifting scenes, and suddenly he was back at home, his father's scowl slicing through the air. "You'll never amount to anything, Nathan. Keep running, keep hiding." The accusation hung heavy, an anchor dragging him down. "Stop it," he yelled, squeezing his eyes shut. "I've changed. You only trick yourself." The stranger's voice pierced through the haze, cold and cutting. "You wish to believe the lies you tell yourself, but the truth remains." With a rush, he faced another mirror. This time, he flinched at the sight of his younger self, a boy alone, clutching a baseball, waiting for a father who never came. "I didn't know," Nathan whispered, his voice breaking. "I didn't understand all paths lead to choices," the figure continued, stepping closer. "You must recognize the pain you've caused. Each moment lost is another fracture in time, leaving scars that bleed into the future." As he gazed into the next mirror, he witnessed a shocking scene. A friend in need, tears staining his cheeks, reaching out for Nathan's help. But instead of support, he saw himself darting away, choosing to disconnect, dismissing his friend's cries for assistance. The weight of that moment hit him like a stone, visceral and bitter. "No. Please." Nathan recoiled, anguish cutting deep. "I can't relive this. I made mistakes, but I'm not that person anymore." A grim smile crept onto the stranger's face. "But do you truly believe that? Are you ready to confront who you were? And who you wish to become?" Nathan's heart raced, fear and anticipation swirling within him. He needed to choose, to fight back against the darkness clawing at the edges of his soul. "Show me," he finally said, his voice trembling with determination. "Show me what it means to gather the shards." The figure nodded, slowly drawing closer, his sharp eyes gleaming with a knowing light. The air crackled with energy as Nathan felt the mirrors shift around him, the world bending to the weight of his resolve. "Very well," the stranger replied, taking a step back. "But know this. What you see may haunt you, and while truths can cut, they also heal. Are you prepared to embrace both?" With a deep breath, Nathan faced the nearest mirror one last time, his pulse a fierce drum in his ears. Outside, the light flickered, hinting at an impending storm. But as the truth loomed on the horizon, Nathan felt a rush of courage surge through him. Was he ready to embrace that which terrified him most? The answer felt close, a whisper on the wind. And just like that, the reflections began to swirl, each bright spot exploding into darkness, taking him deeper into the maze of his own making. What awaited him in this new abyss? Would he break free or spiral into despair once more? Nathan felt weightless as he was engulfed in the swirling darkness, the mirror images dissolving into nothingness like smoke in the air. Just when he thought he could navigate the void, the ground solidified beneath him, and he stumbled into a vast, chilling chamber. This space felt alive, thrumming with an anxiety that mirrored his own pulse. Flashes of eerie light flickered above, illuminating tattered wallpaper and shadows that danced like wraiths. The air was thick, oppressive, a palpable fog of dread that pressed against Nathan's chest. He scanned the chamber, desperate for an escape, yet he found himself drawn to the center, where the stranger stood, the mysterious figure waiting patiently. "Welcome, Nathan," the stranger said, his voice smooth and inviting. "Are you ready to see the real shattered pieces of your life?" Words caught in Nathan's throat as he nodded slowly. Indecision gnawed at him. What if he saw more than he could bear? Yet, in that moment, he realized that turning away was no longer an option. This was his chance to confront his past, no matter how painful. "Right this way," the stranger gestured toward another set of mirrors, this time encased in a gilded frame, lavish yet crumbling like his own dreams. With trembling resolve, Nathan stepped closer. As he gazed into the first mirror, the reflection blurred and shifted. A new image emerged. He saw himself in college, standing on a stage, with cheering classmates but an empty heart. He had been the life of every party, but behind the laughter, a nagging loneliness resided. "Look closely, Nathan. You surrounded yourself with noise to drown out the silence within," the figure said, his tone sharp, slicing through Nathan's memories with precision. "Stop it!" Nathan shouted, clenching his fists. "That's not me anymore." Yet another mirror caught his eye. This time he saw his mother, her face streaked with tears as she clutched a letter, the kind that spell out worry and disappointment. The scene was frozen in time, a moment he had tried to bury. The depth of her sorrow hit him like a punch to the gut. "I wanted to save you from disappointment," Nathan whispered, guilt flooding him. The stranger stepped closer, his eyes locked on Nathan's. "You never saw the weight of your choices, did you? Each one a brick in the wall between you and those you love." "No. I tried. I was just lost." Nathan's voice cracked, desperation clawing at the edges of his sanity. "Lost." The stranger's laughter was eerie, a sound that echoed through the chamber like a distant memory. "Or was it simply that you chose to be blind?" Before Nathan could respond, the floor trembled beneath him, and the walls began to contort, closing in like a vice. Panic bubbled in his stomach as he staggered back, his reflection now filled with shadows, twisting like tortured souls. Echoes of past choices reverberated within his mind, a cacophony of mistakes, regrets, and failures crashing together. "Face it, Nathan. Own it. This is your true self, no more running," the figure commanded, his voice rising over the storm of noise. Nathan's heart raced. He could feel the darkness tightening around him, a suffocating grip as he battled against the revelations choking him. What did he want to become? Who was he willing to fight for? "Show me the way," he shouted, his voice louder than the chaos. "Help me gather the shards I've broken." The moment he spoke those words, the energy shifted. The mirrors shimmered, their surfaces rippling like water, and once again, images began to form, swirling around him like leaves caught in a fierce wind. Each one a glimpse of his life, a painful reminder of what could be fixed if he dared to confront it head-on. Nathan held his breath, bracing for the storm, but as the mirrors twisted, revealing a path through the chaos, a new realization washed over him. The past had no hold over him unless he allowed it to in an instant. The vision shifted again, and a dark figure loomed in the background, a familiar silhouette, one he hadn't seen in years. Who had he forgotten, and what secrets were waiting to be uncovered? As confidence surged within him, Nathan took a step forward through the shimmering portal, determined to face the unknown. But what awaited him on the other side? Was this path leading to healing, or would it unveil another layer of darkness lurking within his past? Nathan felt breathless as he stepped through the shimmering portal, a swirling vortex of light and darkness that seemed to stretch on forever. The world around him shifted drastically, colors blending into a haze that made his head spin. He stumbled forward, heart racing, wondering what shadows waited to greet him. He found himself in a dimly lit hallway, lined with fading portraits that watched him with empty eyes. Each frame seemed to pulse with life, whispering secrets of their own. Heavy velvet drapes hung tightly against the windows, blocking out not just the light, but the sound of the outside world. A chill crawled up his spine. He was no longer just confronting his past, he was standing at the threshold of something far more sinister, That a distant creaking sound echoed through the hallway, and Nathan hesitated. The oppressive atmosphere weighed heavily on him, the air thick with dread. There was no turning back now. As he walked further, the portraits shifted, their expressions morphing from regal calmness to horror, reflecting his every anxious step. "Who are you?" Nathan called out suddenly, his voice wavering. "An echo of your past," a voice murmured from the shadows, smooth and melodic. Nathan turned sharply to find a figure emerging from the darkness, a woman, clothed in a shimmering gown that appeared ethereal. Her eyes, however, were stormy, swirling with emotion. "I've been waiting for you, Nathan," she said softly. Yet her tone pierced through the stillness. "Do you recognize me?" Confusion swirled within him. He wanted to say no, but something deep inside stirred a flicker of memory, reminiscent and painful. Is it Sarah?" he stammered, realizing he was staring at the ghost of a love long lost. "Not just lost, Nathan. Broken." Her voice echoed like a lament. "You left me, abandoned, and now I'm here to show you the tidal wave of consequences." As she spoke, the hallway began to tremble. The portraits rattled in their frames, their eyes wild with the truth they had trapped. Suddenly, the floorboards beneath Nathan's feet splintered, creating an opening that revealed a dark abyss below. "I didn't mean to hurt you," Nathan protested, his heart pounding. The memories rushed back, his hurried decisions, the way he decast her aside, focused only on his own escape. "Don't you see?" Sarah's voice trembled, resonating with heartbreak. "Every choice you made echoes in this haunted place, binding us both." As the shadows began to reach for him, wrapping their tendrils around his legs, Nathan fought against the pull. "I've come to confront my past. I need to fix it." "Can you?" Sarah said, her expression softening, but the sadness remained. "Can you face the truth of what you've done?" The ground beneath him began to tremble, unsettling him further, the darkness swirling into a vortex. "I want to change," he cried, desperation spilling from him like a waterfall. "Help me." From the depths of the abyss, phantom figures emerged, each one a reflection of his past mistakes, lost friendships, shattered relationships, pathways carved in regret. They beckoned, their hands clawing at the edges of his memory, dragging him toward the void. As Nathan stood at the edge of the abyss, Sarah reached out, her hand glowing with a faint light. "Take my hand, Nathan. Together, we can confront what you've lost." In that moment, everything hung in the balance. Would he grasp her hand and embrace the truth, facing the whirlwind of guilt head-on? Or would he step back into the comforting numbness of denial, leaving the ghosts to swirl around him forever? With a quick intake of breath, he made his choice, but before he could reach for her, the world shifted once again. The ground gave way beneath him, and he felt himself falling. The last echo of Sarah's voice calling out, "Remember, the truth can be your salvation or your end." What awaited him in the depths of that darkness? A confrontation, a reckoning, or something even more sinister? Nathan braced himself for the unknown as the shadows closed in, and everything began to unravel. Nathan plummeted through the darkness, his mind swirling with echoes of faces, choices, and consequences. It felt like eternity, his pulse pounded like a battle drum against the backdrop of silence. But just when he thought he might be lost forever, he landed harshly on the cold, hard ground, the jolt pulling him back to reality. Dazed, he pushed himself up, heart racing. This new space was cavernous yet intimate, walls draped in shadows so thick they felt alive. Glimmers of light flickered through cracks, casting strange shapes that danced like forgotten memories. He was no longer in the hallway. He had stepped into the heart of the mansion's very dark secret. "Welcome back, Nathan." The familiar voice was smooth, dripping with authority, resonating through the chamber like a fading echo. The figure of the wealthy stranger materialized, his demeanor still cloaked in ominous charm. "Have you finally accepted the weight of your past?" I want to fix things," Nathan cried, desperation rising in his throat. "I know what I've done. I know the pain I've caused. I just need a chance to make it right." "Ah, the sweet taste of remorse. But remember," the figure said, taking slow, deliberate steps closer, shadows clinging to him like a shroud, "truth isn't free. It demands sacrifices." Before Nathan could respond, the floor beneath him groaned, shifting like the waves of a stormy sea. Dark figures emerged from the shadows, ghosts of his past, each one a fragment of Nathan's choices. They twisted and contorted in silent agony, their faces twisted in sorrow that pulled at Nathan's heart. With trembling hands, Nathan reached out. "I'm sorry. I never realized what I was doing to you." He stepped closer, his breath hitching. "Can I give you something? Anything to change what happened? What you seek cannot be bought back with empty promises." The spectral figures wailed, their voices mingling together, creating a haunting chorus of pain. "You cannot undo what you've done." Nathan's heart ached as he regarded their sorrowful faces, each one a reminder of what he sacrificed in pursuit of fleeting thrills. The memories replayed in agonizing clarity, the missed calls from friends in need, the hollow laughter at parties while true connection lay ignored. It wound around him, squeezing tight. "I know I can't change the past," he admitted, voice thick with emotion. "But I can take a stand for the future." The rich man's voice silenced the echoes, sharp and beckoning. "Then make your choice, Nathan. Confront yourself, or step back into the comforting darkness you so crave." Nathan clenched his fists, desperation giving way to fiery resolve. "I will not let fear decide for me. I want the truth." As if powered by his declaration, the air shifted, vibrating with a primal intensity. Images exploded around him, visions swirling with vivid colors. Hard choices melded into heart-wrenching emotion, each one linking to his life, his decisions. "Face it," the ghostly figures urged, driving forward, urging him on. He felt a knot in his chest loosen as light erupted from within, piercing the shadows, illuminating everything. For the first time, Nathan understood. He had been driven by fear, by the immediate instead of the profound. "I choose to confront my mistakes," he shouted, stepping boldly into the vibrant pinwheel of memories. Suddenly, the figures shifted, becoming clearer, their hurt morphing into understanding. To confront is to heal, Nathan. But you must be prepared for what that truly means. With each word, Nathan felt himself pulled deeper into the visions, bound by invisible strings that linked his heart to theirs. To abandon them would be to abandon himself. The frantic memories sped toward a culmination, an overwhelming wave of emotion, flooding into Nathan. Memories of laughter with friends, innocent, precious moments the light outweighed the dark. But intertwined were choices he feared, times he let others down, and moments that burned with regret. He gasped, realization hitting with the weight of truth. "I can't erase what's done, but I can honor it through action. I can carry their stories, bring them healing." The light intensified, engulfing him in a cocoon of vibrant energy. With one final, desperate leap of faith, Nathan resolved to be the change, embracing the light he hadn't seen through the shadows. With a bright flash, the darkness unraveled, the oppressive chamber dissolving into glimmering fragments of hope. Nathan stood, now in a familiar place, a gathering of friends, their laughter washing over him, warm and alive. The bonds that had once felt fragile were now strong, glowing with promise. They turned to him, eyes bright with understanding. "I'm sorry," he said, voice firm yet tender, "for all the times I chose distraction over connection. I want to be here, fully present this time." As their shadows changed to welcoming light, Nathan realized that the mansion's haunting had gifted him something invaluable. A chance to change, to heal the broken ties. And in that moment of revelation, Nathan felt free, no longer a pawn lost in the shadows, but the restorer of connections once frayed. With a breath of gratitude, he stepped forward into his newfound light, willing to carry the truths of his past into a brighter future. Nathan looked back at the mansion one last time, a bittersweet farewell to the darkness transformed. He turned away, ready to embrace the journey ahead, aware of the weight of his choices yet uplifted by the light of change. Remember, as you take your own steps forward, the choice lies with you. Are you ready to embrace your truths? Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments with your reactions and theories about this wild ending. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Be a part of something amazing. You need to support this channel.